Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are undertaking a really fascinating analysis. It's about economic transformation.
Yeah, how a nation can pivot its entire industrial future.
Exactly. And not by chasing, the latest high-tech thing, but by getting really good at the basics. In this case, cleaning supplies and plastics.
Our sources for this are pretty focused. We've got recent African trade data looking back about 10 years, 2013 to 2023.
Right. And we've paired that with strategic policy documents from Ghana, stuff that lays out their manufacturing goals.
And we're also pulling in some history, lessons from successful national planning, specifically Turkey's first five-year industrial plan from the 1930s. It's quite the comparison.
So our mission today, it's really to unpack Ghana's strategy for, let's call it, deep industrialization.
And it's a strategy that seems perfectly timed, actually, to leverage the new African Continental Free Trade Area, the AfCFTA. The big goal here is achieving, real economic sovereignty.
Okay, so what's the core challenge we're digging into for you, the listener? It's that fundamental problem for so many emerging economies, right?
Definitely. How do you move away from relying on just exporting raw stuff, the cocoa, the oil, the gold, things with prices that go all over the place?
And instead build something lasting, a stable, diversified economy based on, well, higher value manufacturing.
So we have to start with why this change is needed, and the trade data makes that pretty clear.
Let's dive into those numbers. You mentioned the trade imbalance. How do we measure that?
The key metric here is the import-export coverage ratio. It sounds complicated, but it's simple, really. It just compares what a country exports to what it imports. You divide export value by import value, get a percentage.
And if it's below 100%?
Then you're paying out more than you're earning from trade in that category. You've got a deficit. Simple as that.
Got it. So let's look at Africa as a whole for these two product types. How bad is it?
Well, let's take 2023 data. These are using the standard HS code so we can compare apples to apples globally.
Right. First up, plastics. That's HS code 39. Africa imported a staggering $26.6 billion worth.
Wow. Okay.
But only exported $6.25 billion. That leaves a deficit of over $20 billion just in plastics.
That's huge. And the coverage ratio?
A really low 23.51%. Deeply concerning, as you can imagine.
Yeah, spending $4 for every one earned selling plastic. That's a serious drain.
It is. Now let's look at cleaning products. HS code 34, soaps, detergents, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Africa imported $3.5 billion, exported $1.7 billion. The deficit here is smaller, $1.8 billion.
Still a deficit, though.
Oh, absolutely. The coverage ratio is 48.46%. Better than plastic, sure, but still means importing more than double what they export in, like basic cleaning stuff.
Okay, let's zoom in on Ghana then. They're the ones implementing this specific strategy. What do their numbers look like?
Well, for plastics in 2023, Ghana imported $660.5 million and exported only $188.8 million.
So they feel that plastic import pressure too.
Very much so. Their coverage ratio is low, 28.58%. But you mentioned the cleaning products data tells a different story, maybe a more hopeful one.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets interesting. For cleaning products, Ghana imported $91.56 million and exported $56.84 million.
Still a deficit, technically.
Technically, yes. But look at the coverage ratio. 62.08% in 2023.
Okay.
Now, here's the kicker. That 62% is up from just 5.76% back in 2013.
Wow, that's a massive jump.
Exactly. It shows that over a decade, their focused efforts on import substitution in this specific category have really paid off. They've made real progress domestically.
So that success, even in just soaps and detergents, shows it can be done. They can shift the balance.
It's the proof of concept. But to really move the needle for the whole economy, you need scale.
Which brings us back to the AfCFTA. That huge regional market.
Precisely. Remember those Africa-wide import numbers? Just for plastics and cleaning products, AfCFTA countries imported over $30 billion worth in 2023 alone.
That's the potential prize then. Ghana's domestic success shows maybe they can capture a slice of that massive regional pie.
That's the plan. Which leads us to the core strategy. Why cleaning products? Why pick that as the starting point for, well, an industrial revolution?
Yeah, it does seem almost too simple. Why soap and not, I don't know, microchips or cars? Isn't that kind of basic, low-margin stuff?
See, that's where the thinking is different. Industrialization isn't always about the flashiest product. Sometimes it's about the most stable foundation.
Okay, how so?
Cleaning materials are what economists call consumer staples. People buy them pretty consistently, right? Even if there's a recession, you still need soap.
True. Demand doesn't just vanish.
Exactly. That stability provides a predictable base for long-term investment, but the real cleverness is in what some call the industrial weave or the synergy motor.
Synergy motor. Okay, explain that.
It's about the sequence. You start with cleaning products, the core sector. The demand for that product then creates immediate, unavoidable demand in other linked industries. It literally pulls them up.
So the demand for the soap itself acts like a magnet,
Yep.
attracting more advanced development.
You got it. Think about it. To package and sell millions of bottles of detergent, what do you immediately need?
Plastic bottles? Packaging.
Exactly. So it instantly stimulates the plastic sector. You need specific machines, plastic blow molding to make the bottles,
Right.
and plastic injection molding for more complex parts like spray triggers, special caps, those little dosing cups.
Okay. And once you need millions of identical, precise plastic parts,
Yeah.
you're not just doing simple stuff anymore.
Precisely. You've moved into needing high-volume precision engineering. That need for mass production then forces investment in machinery and automation.
Also.
Well, if you want, say, 1 million identical bottle caps that all fit perfectly, you need incredibly precise molds and tooling.
Right.
And to make those high-precision molds, you need sophisticated computerized numerical control machines, CNC machines.
Okay, CNC. That sounds high-tech.
It is. It requires skilled engineers who can do complex metalworking and programming. These are the people who build the actual physical tools for the whole supply chain.
So wait, that simple plastic trigger on, like, my kitchen cleaner, making that efficiently is what could drive Ghana to build up its advanced CNC engineering capacity.
That's the link. It creates a domestic demand for precision engineering that maybe wasn't there before or relied entirely on imports.
That's actually quite remarkable.
And it doesn't stop there. The cleaning product industry also pushes R&D in the chemical sector, better surfactants, greener ingredients, sustainable materials.
Makes sense.
And critically, because you're suddenly consuming a lot more plastic packaging, it forces you to get serious about recycling and the circular economy. You need the infrastructure collection, sorting, processing, especially if you want to use recycled plastic back in your bottles.
So it becomes this whole self-reinforcing cycle, all starting from basic consumer need.
Exactly. A comprehensive industrial ecosystem built on, well, soap.
Okay, let's shift from the why to the how. How is Ghana actually doing this on the ground, connecting policy and education to make it happen?
The main government policy framework is the One District, One Factory initiative. You might hear it called 1D1F. It's been around since 2017.
One district, one factory. Sounds straightforward.
The goal is pretty explicit. Get factories set up in local districts to process local raw materials into higher value products. Move away from just exporting the raw stuff.
And the soap and plastic strategy fits right into that, I guess. Local manufacturing.
Perfectly. And linked directly to 1D1F is a really interesting educational approach, the Manufacturing School Project. It's heavily focused on TVET, technical and vocational education and training.
Okay, TVET. So practical skills training.
Yes, but with a specific design to tackle the skills gap. It has a dual focus, training people in making things, but also in selling them.
So creating workers and entrepreneurs.
That's the idea. And the training is very hands-on. Students get the theory, sure, but then they do these intensive one-week production blocks where they literally work like laborers, making actual cleaning products that can be sold.
Wait, they actually make products to sell?
Yeah. And here's the really clever part. The funding model.
Let me guess.
The school aims to fund itself, at least partly, through selling the very products the students manufacture.
That's brilliant. A self-funding training system. What kind of things do they learn to make?
The curriculum covers quite a range, about 11 types of cleaning products, liquid hand soap, bleach, surface cleaners, you name it, plus essential plastic manufacturing skills, recycling, injection molding, blow molding, even making larger industrial containers.
And this whole approach seems particularly relevant given Ghana's population, right?
Absolutely. It's almost a demographic necessity. Ghana has a very, very young population. The average age is just 21.3.
Wow, really young.
But they also face significant youth unemployment, maybe around 16.6%, some estimates say.
So you've got lots of young people needing jobs and industry needing specific skills.
Precisely. This TVET model tries to bridge that gap directly. It links high-demand manufacturing skills working with plastics, chemicals directly to the market through sales and entrepreneurship training. It gives them skills and a potential path to earning an income quickly.
Okay, so we've got the modern plan in Ghana, 1D1F, the self-funding TVET schools, leveraging FCFTA. Now, you mentioned historical context. How does looking back help validate this approach? You mentioned Turkey.
Yes, Turkey's experience in the 1930s offers, well, a striking historical parallel. Their first five-year industrial plan ran from 1934 to 1938.
The 1930s, so right in the middle of the Great Depression.
Exactly. This wasn't some abstract academic plan. It was a pragmatic, urgent response to that global economic crisis. They adopted a policy called devletçilik, which translates roughly to moderate statism. The driving force was a desire for economic independence.
What was their focus? Was it as specific as Ghana's soap and plastics?
It was pure import substitution, like Ghana's goal, but very targeted. They picked five key sectors: textiles, mining, cellulose, like paper pulp, ceramics, and chemistry.
Okay. And crucially, the mandate was to build enough capacity to meet internal demand first. Self-sufficiency was the absolute priority, not necessarily becoming a big exporter right away.
But how did they pay for all this, especially during a worldwide depression? Resources must have been incredibly tight.
They were. They used what's described as a drip irrigation incentive system.
Drip irrigation, like for farming.
Kind of. It means they took the very limited money they had and used it incredibly efficiently. Small, highly targeted investments directed exactly where they needed to go, with strong oversight.
Smart use of scarce resources.
Very. This practical approach allowed them to build major foundational state enterprises, like Summerbank for textiles and industry, and Bank for mining and energy. These basically built Turkey's industrial base from the ground up.
And did it work? What were the results of this focused, state-led push?
The results were pretty dramatic, actually. It led to the creation of a solid, modern industrial base in those key sectors.
And get this. Turkey, which had been running trade deficits, actually achieved an export surplus between 1930 and 1937, right through the Depression.
Seriously?
Yeah.
While the rest of the world was collapsing.
Yeah. And on top of that, per capita income rose significantly. It almost doubled, from around $47 in 1923 to nearly $90 by 1938.
Wow. So it really proves that this kind of pragmatic, focused strategy centered on meeting domestic needs first can deliver rapid and systemic economic benefits.
It provides a powerful historical precedent.
Okay, so pulling it all together, we see Ghana's modern strategy, the 1D1F, the practical TV-ET system, aiming to use AFCFTA for scale. It really seems informed by this historical lesson from Turkey that disciplined, focused state planning works.
Right, and the engine isn't some futuristic tech, but the basic necessity of, well, consumer goods. That demand drives the higher tech capacity development.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? What's the key takeaway?
I think the key insight is about how industrial transitions often happen in reality. It's not always about inventing the next big thing from scratch. This kind of shift requires prioritizing production over just consumption. By focusing on something seemingly simple, like cleaning products, a nation is essentially forced to build the necessary muscles in related high-value areas. Plastic engineering, precision tooling with CNC, chemical R&D.
So those basic items in your shopping cart, they're not just disposable goods. They can actually be tools for economic strategy, geopolitical assets almost.
You could definitely see it that way.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you to consider.
Okay, let's hear it.
If producing something as basic as household soap internally can help reverse a trade deficit, bolster economic stability, and even fund a whole technical education system, well, we have to ask, what other simple goods are we currently overlooking in the global supply chain? What other everyday items might hold the real key to industrial independence for nations trying to shape their own economic future?